we need to fix that. Welcome to Piggy Power, everyone, and we're in the Lemon, obviously. You can hear it, it's noisy, it's squeaky, slightly rattly, it's definitely noisy, dirty. On the last episode, we sorted out the rear brakes, looking ahead to things I want to do with the car, including a long road trip, the NC500, lots of camping gear in the back, so better rear brakes, done. Next, we have an issue that, you know, we all like the car to look good, stance, but we have an issue with that. Did you hear that? That's the issue, is scrubbing. Now, scrubbing is a thing, you know, you're gonna get used to on some cars if you've got really low cars, but I like cars to look nice, but I can't stand scrubbing. I mean, it just hurts. And some of the roads around the NC500 aren't great, and roads around me aren't great. We're on a road near me, and it bounces around and it scrubs. So, gonna fix that today. Oh man, there's actually cobwebs in the car, and the cobwebs have got cobwebs that have got dust on. Poor car. So to give you a proper impression of how bad the scrubbing is, I'll show you. Maybe you'll be able to see it in the video in a bit. But this road is particularly bad for it, and I want to be able to drive on any type of road surface without having to worry about the scrubbing or how much stuff we've got in the back for camping, etc. Or I just want to be able to drive and not have to worry about it, and the tyre popping or damaging the bodywork. Just any road, B roads, little lanes, bombing along, and I can just go, not worry about the scrubbage. And there's this little bit of road here. Now, I'll show you in a minute. I have done one corner as a bit of practice, I'll show you. But for instance, this bump here. Oh, we need to fix that. We've got to sort that out. It's more common than you think on these roads around here, and it hurts. And this is a moment just with me in it. The boot is empty, nothing in there. So let's go back, show you what I've done in the one corner to stop it, the rear corner right, which isn't as bad, but it was happening. And then I'll show you on the other side, that side done too, hopefully fixed. And then we'll do that same stretch and you won't hear the that's the plan. Anyway, okay, so by comparison, here's this side, has got some poke, but you can see pretty heavily, you know, the burning rubber and scrapage, which doesn't sound good, and obviously isn't very good either. And the main areas it's happening is along the edge of this bumper here, and on the edge of here. There's a bit of a sharp edge. So, sort of fixed that the other side by doing two things. I know it looks a little ugly at the moment, but we've obviously rolled the arch a lot more to make sure we get some tuck up in there as it compresses and that gap disappears. And there's a little bracket here that holds the bumper, and we took the bolt out, put a spacer in to push the bumper out a little bit, so that one, it follows that contour, which I really like, and also it just lifts this bumper edge away, and we just followed the profile, or did our best to follow the profile of that as well, because it kind of poked out a little bit before. So that has been clear of that one now, which is grand. The bumper does need rewrapping for Pugfest, definitely. Might do something else it long term, but I'm getting quite fond of this satin grey. It does look cool, so maybe I'll get it done professionally rather than me doing it in a weekend in my shed. But the bumper definitely needs redoing, probably my worst bit on the whole car. So I'll probably put a bit of fiberglass in, fill that gap, not between the two, but on this bumper, create a flat edge in there, and then wrap over that, because obviously that looks a little bit rubbish. So I'll do the same the other side, and we'll show you what's what. Yeah, basically there's a mountain here that will lift that out. We'll roll this a little bit more, and you can kind of see that the roll kind of is good to here, and then kind of goes inwards rather than following the contour of the wheel, and it's this back edge here which is rubbing. It's there. Fix it. So much easier now, the wheel off, for you to see where it's rubbing. You can see it's gone shiny along that edge, and then you can see along the edge of that bumper too. I know it looks a bit scabby in here, but because they've come out so wide. I haven't been worried about the inner arch guards. I have got them. You shouldn't run without them for a long time. Once I'm happy that the car's mechanically right, we're going to clean all this out, jet wash it, scrub it back, wire wheel it back, treat any little spots. We've got tiny little spots, nothing major, of rust, and then undersill all this ends are inside. Maybe we can get some better dampers for the rear as well. Man, those gads just... They were new when I built this. Yep, they just rust instantly. Terrible. Good otherwise, other than the adjuster doesn't work. Now it's rusted and it looks rusted. Definitely not stainless, not even slightly. Anyway, let's get back to rolling this so that that shine, it doesn't, you know, from here basically backwards, it needs to come out. And then this bumper, that piece we're talking about, it's in there. You can just about see it. If I lean that out a little bit, no, you probably can't with the lighting. But basically, yeah, there's a nut in there, and a bolt. Undo that, put a spacer in, pop it back in. Winning. You access it from up in here, which, nice. Yeah, that's also why you should keep your arch liners in, because this gets all muddy and disgusting. Ugh. You can access it from up in there. So, up in there's a bolt, undo that, open, spacer, chatted too much, let's do it. Oh, check out the series on the 204, nice. Just in case you've never seen an arch roller before, go on YouTube, which you're already on now, just type in how to use arch roller. I'm not going to show you how. You basically just bolt it to your hub and use your hub as the axle for this to roll on, because obviously your wheel axle kind of circular, as you can kind of see. So you just, other top tips I would make sure is it's always secure so it doesn't move around as you're doing it. It's as clean as it can be on this inner surface, which I've not done, which you should do. Everything's tight once it's set up. You want to get the angle of this roller just right, and don't do too much at a time. Like if you just like wind this in and then do it, you'll just start creating creases. Now if it wasn't for a wrap and you had paint, I'd also be heating this up quite significantly to the point where you can sort of just touch the paint. You don't be bubbling the paint, just so that paint has some flexibility, especially old paint, because the paint will just start splitting and cracking, which this did underneath when I did it before, which is why the kind of this is just covering stuff, because you know I bodged when I wrapped it, so that's fine, perfect. Moving on, carry on, roll it, show you. So I fully appreciate the aesthetics don't look great right now, that gap. You know, it's not brilliant. But we've tried to, again, so once you do this, the bumper kind of comes out to here. So I've kind of used the nice flat wheel on a grinder and just tried to sort of go in with that arch edge. So it does give a heck more clearance, a bit more width. And yeah, we'll just have to kind of bond in maybe some sections there, cut out a piece of another bumper and just try and fill that gap neatly. I don't want to put anything over it I can think of. You know, I'm not really into little add-ons. But if you think of something, because by the time I release this video, I won't have fixed that, let me know what you think, what I can put there. Kind of mask that ugliness. Otherwise, cool. We're going to trim off some of the, what's this called? Wrap. That's just kind of flapping in the wind. And then we'll move the car a little bit. And we're going to have a go at this front edge, because this is the other one that's really cutting in to the tyre. Not great. This lip here in particular. And as you can see, it's obviously clearly rubbing on there too. So try and fix those things. The aesthetics we'll worry about later. I just need to make it as practical as I can for the road trip. Like I don't, like even if I didn't have time to clean it, and that sounds bizarre, I just want it to be comfortable, to drive with as much weight in as we can get, as we need, and drive on any road surface comfortably. So we're going to do those things first. I spend probably way too long on this, but there we go. I did roll the arches before using the old jack handle. Didn't go too well, which is why there's all the pimples on this. I just was desperate to get the nice wheels on, as you do, you know. We've rolled it a little bit, but it is sort of, it's not quite the same as the rears, where it's just flexing on where it's positioned. So behind here, we've actually taken a slot of metal from about here, which you can kind of see because it's starting to pinch at just that point. So we've taken a little slot from behind here. Let's try again. So we've taken a little slot here, from about here all the way down to there. And we're gonna have to do is actually welding behind here. There's a bit of corrosion, a piece of metal missing, a whole chunk, which I was a bit surprised by. But that might have to do with no arch liner kind of up there. I didn't think I made that much difference, and I've put the arch liner back in. You can see how much difference, because this used to cover that. So we've got this whole area here right out. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Pretty significant change. Obviously can't really tell too much, but hopefully You can. It's where these wings, you can kind of arch roll them thingy, and then they kind of pinch in at this point here. And of course, there's material behind holding it in place. So it kind of just curves and pinches in. So we've got that pinch out. We've also shoved a spacer in the mount that's just here and spaced out the bumper by 10mm as well, just to line it up so that it kind of looks OEM. OEM. Right, let's get a wheel on it, get it for a drive, and see if it as you're driving along. There's one particular bump down here that always scrapes. Here it comes. Here we go. Oh! It didn't scrape! It didn't! It didn't scrape! Did you hear that? Well, no, you didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. You didn't hear that. I didn't hear a scrape! All my life. No scrape. No scrapes! That one particular dip is always a scraper. So let's try it with some load. Here we go. Oh, this is good. This is good. Here we go. Here's the dip. Oh! Yes! Yes! Right. The only other test we're going to do is we're going to chuck a load of weight in the boot, like some big drums of water, and then we'll try it. But that is a win! Yes! So, I don't know where in the progress, this will just be a episode with a lemon. Exhaust leaks just everywhere. I thought it was really bad just on one spot, and then I noticed there was a nut missing on that flange. It was blowing out underneath there just before the turbo. I could see it was a bit of soot on both ends, and there's a lot of soot on both ends. And it's actually melted the ends of the gasket out and warped it. 15mm plate, by the way. This is 15mm plate. And we've got a nice gap that end and a nice gap that end. You can actually visually see that it's warped again. I don't know how it's doing that. I am going to do a couple of things on this. Going to replicate stock manifold, a few cuts in it to allow it to maybe move. Don't know. Maybe that will be making worse. And I'm going to give it a 15mm thick spine on the back of it as well. Then we'll skim it, or I won't skim it, but Adept Engineering will skim it, and we'll hope we'll go somewhere from that. And if this doesn't work for the NC500, we're going to have to stick a standard manifold on it and a link pipe. That's the only way we're going to do it. And I'll just chop that off there, create a link pipe. I can't see any other way of doing it. So annoying. So very annoying. There we go, Pugfest in like 2 days, so this is fine. So after chatting with some friends that know a heck of a lot more than I do, and just reasoning through it, we took the big bar off the back of it, which I'd welded that on really, really well. I went through about 8 discs getting that off. Mainly because we think we're adding more tension and stress to it, adding metal at the back. And actually we need to give it a space to relax. And if you look at the OEM pictures, there's often, well, on some of them, there's splits, not all of them. So I'm wondering whether there's something in that. Even on the cast ones, there's splits. And this should allow things to move. Obviously, it's getting hot, and then when it's relaxing, it can only go so far, and the ends it will go to. It will retain the heat and cool quick on the ends. So maybe this will just give it some space to relax and heat up. That's the theory anyway. So we're going to get that skimmed now because it's quite badly damaged. And we'll get this skimmed as well, as it's just not quite perfect. It's never been an issue, but with it blowing just this area here, and I can tell with a straight edge, it's not quite perfect. So machine shop, skim, last ditch effort. I thought I'd go for the 3 splits. No point going for 2 and seeing what happens. And then if this doesn't work, we go OEM manifold and a link pipe. I hope this works. Right, less than 24 hours from dropping it off at the machine shop. Adept Engineering have sorted me out. Amazing. It's not the most mirror finish he's ever done. I've used some wet and dry just to help the gasket out a little bit. I think it will be fine. He has managed to practically mirror finish before, but it was a rush job. I've also had him skim this flange here, which wasn't quite true anymore, so that's perfect. New gaskets, get it on a car, give it a test drive. I hope it's okay. and then try and do all the things I would have done in the time I've had this apart, which I'm not going to get to done now. So don't expect much different to happen at Pugfest. It will just be there. Not that you're going to see this video before Pugfest either, but there we go. Loads I would like to have done, didn't get it done, but I will be there. So, that's another go. Just, I always check fit gaskets, make sure they all look alright, fit the car, etc. And while I was cleaning off the head, down the back, I noticed something. I noticed there were some casting marks on this corner and this corner. I first thought, is that a crack? I hope it's not a crack in my head. And then I noticed it wasn't a crack in the head. If I zoom in, I'll try and zoom in on the area, you can just about see, I haven't quite finished clearing off, but centre of the screen, in that fuzz and blur, I'm going to try and point to it. Basically, there. Sorry, so basically you see that line there? That's a lift in the head on the casting, where they obviously skim the edge of the head for flattening off the manifold. Basically what that means is when you're torquing down, obviously you're torquing down on that casting and lifting that one end up. Now there isn't so much of a pronounced one on the other end, but just to be sure, and for the sakes of symmetry, taking both ends off. There's nothing in the way here, here or here. Let's hope that helps, along with all the other things I've done. Here goes. She's alive! She's alive! So far, so good. No squeal, squeal. Okay, have some dinner, go for a test drive. I don't know what that new noise is. Okay, we're together. I've wiped a few things down because I won't have time between now and then. Really need to clean the air filter out. I really must do that. That's probably killing about 4.3 kilowatts. So we're going to clean that. Anyway, we're back together. Sweet!